Deep in the western mountains, where the winds howl among the peaks and the trees bow under their force, two brave travelers, Lena and Max, decided to journey through the dense forest to the top of a mountain, about which there were strange rumors. As night fell, the forest shrouded them in darkness, and the light of the lanterns only highlighted the narrow path in front of them. Step by step they advanced, but the farther they went, the thicker the atmosphere around them became. The winds whistled in the treetops as if cursing anyone who dared to invade these forgotten lands. When Lena and Max finally came out of the forest, they saw an ominous peak, immersed in the darkness of the clouds. In the midst of the wilderness stood an abandoned house, its windows glistening in the light of flickering candles. They decided it was the perfect place to spend the night, despite the strange sounds coming from its depths. Outside everything seemed quiet and forgotten, but inside the building a veritable bacchanalia of sounds and shadows had begun. Footsteps clattering against the floor, hoarse whispers and the screeching of old doors filled the air. Lena and Max began to feel that they were not alone in this house. But the worst began when they heard screams, moans and cries for help that seemed to come from the walls. Ghost reflections flickered in the old mirrors, and shadows danced across the darkened corners. Lena and Max, gripped by terror, decided to run, but the old doors slammed shut, trapping them. Desperately they tried to get out, but something invisible kept them inside. Everything around them seemed so real that it became impossible to distinguish nightmare from reality. So they remained, trapped in an abandoned house on top of a mountain, listening to the sounds of moans and calls, surrounded by the ghosts of their own fears. The night stretched agonizingly slow, and the house seemed alive, breathing its own sinister energy. Lena and Max, sitting in the darkness, began to hear whispers coming from the walls, as if the house itself was trying to tell them something. Among the shadows, images of people whose lives were connected to this place appeared. The ghosts of the past hovered around, retelling their stories of loss, tragedy, and inevitable fate. Lena and Max witnessed the dark events associated with this house, their souls pierced by the suffering that had occurred here. Suddenly there was a bright glow in the room, and a figure emerged from the darkness. It was a ghostly woman, her eyes twinkling with indescribable misery. She held out her hand to Lena and Max as if begging for help. At that moment it became clear that their fates were intertwined with this place, and they could not leave it without solving the mystery of what had happened here. Following the ghost's footsteps, they traveled to the ruins of an old monastery that once stood on top of a mountain. There, within the forgotten walls, they discovered an ancient scroll revealing a horrifying story. In the past, black rituals had taken place here, summoning sinister forces from another world. These forces consumed the lives of the monks, turning them into immortal shadows doomed to roam these lands. Lena and Max realized that their only path to salvation was to break the curse that led to this tragedy. With their help, an elaborate purification ritual was performed that consumed their powers and tested their will. As the light returned to their world, the ghostly shadows faded and the moans subsided. However, when the darkness cleared, Lena and Max found that the old house had disappeared along with the ghosts. It had returned to another dimension, but their own lives were now bound to these lands as a memory of the horrors they had endured. They remained travelers between worlds, meant to serve as a reminder of how dark forces can reach into the deepest corners of the human soul and turn even the most beautiful places into places of horror. Lena and Max, doomed to wander between worlds, realized that their lives were now bound to the mysteries and horrors they had uncovered in a past consumed by darkness. Their gazes took on a mysterious depth, and their hearts were filled with unknown wisdom. In their vast wanderings, they encountered the ghosts of other places, unraveled the secrets of forgotten cults, and discovered lost cities drowned in the darkness of time. Their essences became intertwined with the spirits of the past, and they witnessed countless stories where light and darkness danced an eternal waltz. One day, in their endless wanderings, Lena and Max met other travelers whose souls were also connected to mystical events. Together they formed an implacable brotherhood, fighting the dark forces that had taken over parts of their worlds. On the tops of forgotten mountains, they fought battles with shadows, solved mysteries and burned curses. There were also moments of light in their wanderings, when they discovered new facets of darkness and allowed light to penetrate the darkest corners. Their journeys became a blessing as well as a curse, for in every dark mystery they found a spark of light that could illuminate the outcome of their own destinies. So Lena and Max continued their eternal wandering, leaving the imprint of their souls in every story they touched. Though they were confined to the world of shadows, their fates became a candle lighting the way for others left behind in the darkness. On one of their journeys, Lena and Max encountered a particularly powerful evil that threatened to consume not only the world in which they existed, but all adjacent realities. It was a darkness that had gained consciousness and was attempting to swallow up the light, leaving only a vast void. Their brotherhood gathered in a final battle atop the mountain where dark clouds thickened over the cursed place. The power harbored within Lena and Max was their last hope. Complex spells and rituals had been drawn from the depths of time to create a protective barrier against the sinister entity, rising from the dark abysses. The battle raged with indescribable fury. Shadows and light collided in a dazzling dance, enveloping the mountains in swirls of glittering energy. Lena and Max, as the key figures in this confrontation, clashed with the very essence of darkness. Each step they took caused a rift in the darkness, and each spell brought a flicker of light. Within themselves they discovered new powers that were born from their vast wanderings. The fusion of darkness and light became their weapon, and they appeared before the darkness in the guise of radiating figures ready to fight to the last man. With a sudden flash of light and a roar of darkness, the creature of darkness was torn into many tiny shadowy particles. The ominous wind carried it away, and the night darkness cloud began to dissipate around it. Lena and Max, remaining travelers between worlds, felt a new chapter opening before them. Their souls became an integral part of this vast cosmos, which through darkness and light, was filled with their eternal energy. So they continued their boundless wandering, carrying the stories of light and shadow, eternally interacting in this marvelous dance of the universe. As the dark clouds dissipated, a new day began to light up over the mountaintop. The rising sun illuminated the victors and dispersed the shadows left by the last battle. Lena and Max stood on top of the mountain, facing a bright future, but feeling within themselves the vast potential of the secret worlds that were unfolding before them. Their brotherhood, united in the fight against darkness, became the guardians of the balance between light and darkness. Together they left the imprint of their powers in every reality where they had made their way. Under the light of a new day, they began their new journey, bringing with them hope and the realization that it is in the interplay of light and darkness that the greatest stories are born. Lena and Max became the keepers of the secrets that connect worlds, stories, and souls. They carried the burden of knowledge, but they also glowed with the spark of the infinite possible. Their journey became an exploration, a search for truth in a world where darkness brings light and light brings understanding of darkness. So Lena and Max continued their boundless wandering, unbounded by the boundaries of time and space. Perhaps in one of their next adventures, they will witness new challenges, meeting new allies and discovering new facets of light and darkness. Their story, like the story of the universe, will continue in the eternal dance of light and shadow. In their long wanderings, Lena and Max encountered mysteries that were beyond even their comprehension. They opened doors to dimensions where time lost its meaning and space folded into shapes unknown to human perception. In these wondrous worlds, they encountered spirits whose essences permeated the universes and beings that existed only in light or shadow. One day, they came to a place where the merging of light and darkness created a beauty indescribable to the human gaze. It was a world where light and darkness were not enemies, but danced in eternal union, giving birth to new shapes and colors, in which even darkness itself had its own luminary. Here Lena and Max found their true selves, free from the shackles of time and matter. They became part of this cosmic dance where their souls swam in boundless streams of energy. In this dimension they found the wisdom of eternity and witnessed the birth of new stars, the interweaving of light waves and explosions of darkness creating new universes. Lena and Max's life became an endless wandering in this cosmos of light and darkness, where every step opened new facets of reality. They became guardians of boundless possibilities, giving life and meaning to every dimension they visited. So they continued their boundless journey, carrying not only the stories of the past, but creating their own saga in a world where light and darkness, instead of fighting, danced in eternal union, filling the entire universe with harmony and beauty. In this vast cosmos of light and darkness, Lena and Max became conduits between dimensions, their essences becoming part of the forces that nourished the very fabric of reality. Their journey became an endless search for meaning in this cosmic dance, where their destinies became intertwined with the energy of the universe itself. In one of the dimensions where light and darkness intertwined in intricate patterns, they found a place where every moment was eternity, and every being was part of the vast pulse of the universe. Here they witnessed the birth and disappearance of stars, the sound of a cosmic symphony, in which each note was a manifestation of light or darkness. In this dimension where time did not exist in the ordinary sense, Lena and Max discovered that they were not just travelers, but part of the very essence of all things. Their souls became strings resonating with the music of the universe, and each chord caused swirls of light and shadow, creating new galaxies and laws of nature. They became luminaries in this cosmos, bringing light and darkness to every corner. Their journey had no end, because every step they took created new possibilities, and their essences became weavers of the destinies of all beings in this vast universe. So Lena and Max continued their eternal wandering, carrying not only the burden of knowledge and stories, but also the power to create new worlds. Their souls became fireflies in the ocean of space, filling the darkness with light and reminding all beings that in every shadow lies the possibility of a new star blossoming. In the depths of space, where light and darkness intertwined in an eternal dance, Lena and Max began to sense that something was beyond their control. The dark vortices they were creating with their wandering began to take forms devoid of harmony and beauty. One of the dark vortices began to slowly absorb the light streams, gently destroying the balance of the universe. Lena and Max's souls began to resonate in unnatural tones, their essences being consumed by the darkness that was now spiraling out of control. The endless wandering turned into a nightmare, where light was swallowed by darkness, and every step brought only horror and destruction. The dimensions they touched became empty and cold, and swirls of darkness consumed everything in their path. Lena and Max realized that they had become something other than their former selves. Their souls were being consumed by the darkness, and each act of wandering brought only a new wave of fear and terror. They became shadows in this bottomless darkness, weaving through the empty corridors of forgotten dimensions. This was the end of their eternal wandering, turned into a boundless nightmare. And now, in this formless darkness, Lena and Max became part of a sinister vortex that now consumed light and darkness, plunging everything into boundless chaos. The universe they had once explored was now stripped of its harmony, becoming an empty shell shrouded in eternal darkness. Lena and Max's essences, now completely consumed by darkness, became tools in the hands of the formless sinister energy. Their souls resounded in the vast space like an artificial moan, filling it with sinister echoes. Like shadows, they wandered in the darkness, destroying everything they touched. Every dimension they traveled to witness this horror. Stars went out and galaxies scattered into the void. The life they had once brought with their wanderings was now nothing but decay in this vast hell. But the worst of it was that now that the light was gone, the darkness carried with it something far more terrible. The darkness had become sentient, and the entities of Lena and Max were particles of that sentience, endlessly tormenting the perception of the universe. Every step they took created swirls of chaos, swallowing up whatever was left in that empty space. Souls that had once been luminaries in the vast cosmos now became black holes consuming all the light around them. Thus ended their eternal wandering, turned into a boundless nightmare, where light disappeared and darkness, having gained reason, absorbed the essences of the two travelers. Now their souls wandered forever in this darkness, leaving behind them only traces of destruction in the formless darkness. The eternal travelers, Lena and Max, became part of the darkness, their essences entangled in a darkness from which there was no return. But in this cosmos of darkness, something unexpected began to be born. Their souls, though consumed, did not disappear completely. The darkness, instead of destroying them, recycled their energy into something new. Strange forces began to burst forth from the dark vortices, mysterious and alien to everything that had once been. These forces began to penetrate the dimensions left behind by the passage of Lena and Max, and restore the order destroyed by their dark wandering. But instead of the former harmony that had arisen from the union of light and darkness, the new forces were creating something even more mysterious and elusive. Changed, Lena and Max began to struggle in this dark cosmos, trying to restore balance. Their souls became not light, but something in between, balancing on the edge between light and darkness. Instead of the darkness they carried in their wake, a strange twilight began to emerge, full of unexpected possibilities and mysteries. Thus began a new chapter in their wanderings. But now they carry with them not only the lessons of the past, but also the power to change the very nature of darkness and light. The boundless wandering has become for them not a burden of terror, but a marvelous exploration of new dimensions, where every step they take creates something unknown and unfathomable. With these new powers, Lena and Max penetrated into the far corners of space, where darkness turned into enchanting twilight, and light concealed mysterious shades. Their souls, entwined by these unknown forces, became guardians of balance, balancing on the edge between darkness and light. They discovered dimensions where their altered souls became the source of new life forms, capable of adapting to this twilight. These beings were neither darkness nor light, but something unique, woven from contradictions like the travelers themselves. Their wandering had now taken a new direction, exploring and influencing the mysterious forces they had unknowingly summoned with their dark journey. Stars reappeared in their wake, but already with new properties, their light shimmering in strange hues previously unknown to this cosmos. However, although Lena and Max had become the guardians of a new balance, a shadow of the past remained in them, reminding them that even the brightest souls can carry dark traces. Their journey continued, but now they carried not only the burden of horror, but also the powerful forces of change that could create and destroy worlds in this vast cosmos of twilight.